Hey, have you ever wondered what a Chinese car factory is like on the inside? Well, the MrChia crew is on its way to find out. We're going to take you behind the scenes at Zeekr, not just to drive its latest cars, but also to give you a rare look at how they're actually made. We're even going to show you the treatment that motoring journalists get, from the gifts that car companies give, right down to, well, business class flights. Okay, so we just arrived in Shanghai after a pretty short flight, and now we've got a 3-hour drive ahead of us, but I bet it's gonna fly by because I think they've arranged a Zeekr 9 MPV. So I'm gonna lounge in comfort, and you know what, it's 8 degrees now and it's a little bit rainy, but I got such a nice welcome from the Zeekr people, look at that. So kind of freezing on the outside, but nice and warm on the inside. Oh man, what's this? My favorite word, swag. Okay, wow, look at this. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gifts, guys. Okay, let's have a look at what they've laid out for us here. Okay, well, this one is quite easy. It's a bag for us to take all this swag home. Okay, let's start with the big one, shall we? And it looks like a pillow. Ah yeah, it's a waterproof jacket. That's gonna be handy. It's been raining ever since I got here. So let's see what this is. It seems like a box of chocolate. It really feels like Christmas Day here. You know, Zeekr does have a design studio in Sweden, so I'm guessing all their swag is gonna look really nice as well. Oh yeah, and sure enough, I've got a nice, I guess, thermos. It looks really sleek and futuristic. And on the other side of that, oh yeah, okay, that's the carrying case for it. So as I said, you know, gifts were a customary thing. That's kind of tapered down a little bit now that times have changed. This is high future. I don't know what it is, and I will find out and maybe show you at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Man, I can imagine some poor guy in the PR department actually had to sit down and wrap all of these things. Probably the intern. Let's see, okay, this says Imagine Beyond. I'm guessing some kind of stationery. I am almost right, it's a calendar. Oh, okay, it's some kind of leather. I wouldn't say this is leather, this is probably some kind of recycled material or something, just to reflect the kind of sustainability that Zeekr wants to be known for. And that's a common theme for journalist gifts. They try to give you something that you can make use of. So, as I said, I'm not actually here to receive gifts, of course. I've got a little itinerary here. It says that tomorrow I've got to visit the factory. I'm going to see where the Zeekrs are made. And there's something called a test drive carnival, so I'm going to get to drive a whole bunch of cars. So I'm really looking forward to that. And from what I can see, this is actually Zeekr's first global media event. The company is like 3 years old. It's called the 2024 Zeekr Global Experience Day, and it is unusual for us to get as many as 6 items, so I'm guessing that Zeekr really wants to make a good impression tomorrow. So let's see what they've come up with. Okay, now I want to introduce you to the newest Zeekr model. It's yet to hit the market, but it's the Zeekr 22. It's quite a low-end model, as you can see, and it's quite spacious. It's got 22 seats, and it's perfect for families or factory outings or whatever you want. Fully electric, 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds with a range of 699 kilometers. Watch this, it's coming to the market soon. Before we see the factory itself, there is the obligatory group photo, of course, so let's get that done. I love Zeekr! So here I am at Zeekr's Meishan plant, and it's apparently one of the most advanced car factories in the world. Now, it's not very often that we get to look inside a car factory, so if they let us roll the cameras inside, you're in for a treat. So I've just found out that they build 2 Zeekr models here, the 007, which is a kind of luxury sedan, and the 7X, which is a luxury crossover. So just a quick overview of what we're going to see here today, guys. There are apparently 5 major processes that happen here. Let's see, there's casting, there is stamping, and then there's the welding shop that builds the body up, and then there's the paint shop, and then the final assembly. So pretty standard in terms of what you see at the car factory, but something I've never seen before is all this data in real time. So this is an IoT or Internet of Things sort of networked factory, and they can monitor all kinds of things. And what I can see here is that they've used 402 kilowatt hours to build each car today. I've never seen anything like that. And they even monitor how much water they've used in assembling the vehicle. So the factory's been online for like just over an hour, maybe coming to 2 hours today, and they've built 100 cars according to this. And the target for today is 520 cars. So 520 cars a day. I don't know how many days the factory runs every year, but assuming they work 7 days a week, well, you do the math. So when we get to the casting plant, I think we'll be able to see the creation of this panel over here. And this is interesting. Why? Because it is, I think, something called a megacast, or Tesla calls it a gigacast. So it looks to me like this entire piece here is just one component. Now, when you do a big casting like this, you can save a kind of assembly of a whole bunch of small things. This apparently saves more than 80 parts by itself, and it saves more than 400 welds. The other thing is that when you do this, you reduce the noise and vibration from the vehicle. You also improve the safety. So it's a new way to do things, and it is very, very interesting to see it come to life in terms of one big piece where it's just a single casting. Okay, so here we are in the final assembly hall. It's 120,000 square meters. The final assembly is where all the little components of the car come together. So let's check out how they do things here. So far, I'm seeing that it is very much like the other car factories I've seen. Except, there seem to be a lot of robot and autonomous vehicles ferrying parts around. Alright, so this fella seems to be heading down these roads over here. And I've not really seen this before, but what I think is happening in there is that you have humans picking components off and loading them into bins, and I think these are earmarked for individual cars. So I think that they have a build sheet, they see what components need to go to a given car, they load these up, and then these go to the cars. So I think these shells here would have come freshly off the paint line. You can see that they don't actually have doors on them or windscreens yet. Those are usually going to be, I guess, attached to the vehicle later. The doors are off because it makes it easier for the workers to reach the interior to install the components. So one of the things about this factory is that there are 7 lines, and they are able to build a variety of vehicles here. In the past, car factories used to be quite inflexible in the sense that you would have one line for one model or one vehicle, but here it seems like they're able to mix and match everything. That's really good for efficiency, and it's actually good for corporate profit. And it's really the modern way to build cars. Okay, behind me you can see that there's a body, and then there's the platform with all the mechanical gear underneath. So this is the same as in other factories. The body's going to come down and kind of join up with the motors and battery and all that. So I don't know if you can see these little, I guess, tools at the bottom there. They apparently automatically bolt the body and chassis together. They can apparently do something like 180 bolts completely automatically. So I think everyone's on the break here, which is why nothing's happening, but maybe I can have a go myself. So this is always one of the favorite parts of a car factory for me. It's like mechanical ballet. So you've got a little parking garage there where this station receives all the windscreens, and a robot picks them up, and then it kind of applies glue around the edges robotically as well, and then kind of swivels like a piece of ballet. And places it onto the car. What's interesting about this one is that apparently these arms have some kind of 3D visual system to guide them to make sure that the windscreen is placed exactly where it needs to be on the body. This looks like the line where they assemble the dashboard panels, and it actually looks like one of the more labor-intensive parts of assembly. I mean, there's more humans I've seen here than in the last 10 minutes combined. And it looks like there's a lot of intricate work that goes into building dashboards before they're installed in the car. So I think you can see behind me the quality inspection station at the end of the line for any car factory. They do like to have a closer look at each and every car. They'll do things like weather testing, get the cars back to see if any water leaks in. They'll of course look for paint defects or any scratches or anything that needs to be rectified so it can be done over here before it ships out of the factory and towards the dealer. So as I said, they do a little bit of quality assurance at the end of the production line, and that's obviously a suspension test, I guess, and listening out for clunks and things like that. But if you ask me, that's probably the worst job in the whole factory, driving the car over the bumpy lines. What's interesting to me is that some of these cars are not Zeekrs. I've seen a Lynk Co roll past me, so I think this factory does manufacture Lynk Co as well as Zeekr cars, which are both under the Geely umbrella. So we come to the end of a whirlwind tour of the Zeekr plant here in Meishan, and if you ask me, there's not a lot of magic to see, but you don't want to see magic in a car factory. What you want to see is logistic mastery. What you want to see is a neat approach to building cars, and you want to see flexibility on the lines as well. And pretty much automation, that's the main thing, because the more you can robotize the car and the assembly process, the higher the quality you can make it. Having stepped into a lot of European car factories and some American ones, I have to say this one is right up there in terms of quality and automation. Okay, so I've been to a whole bunch of car factories, and the first thing they always tell you is put a sticker over your phone, leave your camera on the bus. And those are the Western car makers, which seem to be very secretive about their processes. But here it seems to be the opposite. Zeekr looks like it's willing to show the world what it's up to. So we've had a rare glimpse inside its working factory. But to me, what I find interesting about this plant is that it is just 1 kilometer from the ocean. So I don't know if there's a port nearby where they're exporting the cars from. But honestly, it's a message I think that Zeekr really wants to 上船, as they say in China, get on the boat and start exporting around the world. The fact that this plant is so near the ocean is definitely not a coincidence. You're still here? Great, because like I said, I'm going to show you what's inside these boxes. Let's see, it says Hi Future, so I'm just about to unbox the future here, and let's find out what is in the cards for my tomorrow. If I can just get this box open. Okay, here we go, and I'm guessing, yep, it's got 4 wheels. It is, ta-da, a Zeekr. So welcome to the future, and I'm glad you stuck around. I bet you didn't expect me to keep my promise, but never toy with your feelings. Hey, we've got more coming up from our trip to China. I'm going to drive the insanely powerful 001 FR and try to drift an electric car for the first time. I'm also going to show you the autonomous driving system that Zeekr is giving its customers, and I'm going to try to not roll over in the all-new Zeekr 7X. There's plenty to watch, so go ahead and subscribe to make sure you catch it all.